So yeah, there are a number of challenges of delivering new maths content remotely. Firstly, we're heavily relying on students being completely honest with us, which is difficult, for them to be honest about whether they are understanding that new content that we are delivering, because it's much harder to be able to assess their progress during a live lesson online. It's almost like we're having to build a completely new relationship with them through the delivery of online lessons. So we're having to think very carefully as to how we're going to structure that live lesson and deliver that new content, and being very aware of time. And we're finding an absolute maximum for an hour. We teach our lessons in 2-hour chunks. So absolute maximum of 1 hour live is what we feel that the students can cope with. So I think the way in which our remote maths teaching is the same as it is in the classroom is that we're obviously building on the effective pedagogy that we use had we had those students in front of us. We're really focusing on clear explanations. We're using example problem pairs to exploit the worked example effect. I think the ways in which our remote maths teaching is different to how it would be in the classroom is that we've had to significantly reduce the amount of content that we are covering in one session. I think we have to be realistic. Students aren't going to be able to progress at the same pace as they would do had we been in a classroom. And I think it's really focusing on the quality of what we're delivering rather than the quantity. I don't think there would be any point in rushing through the curriculum and delivering it at the same pace. So to support students who might be finding the new content challenging, I've already talked about how we are using multiple worked examples and obviously really focusing on our high quality explanations. We are encouraging students to get involved and chat to us during the lesson, either through that chat feature or by putting their microphones on, so that we are able to give them feedback on the work that they are completing. We've made use of online whiteboard resources so that we can actually see live what students are completing and intervene with students who might be struggling at that point. So once students have completed their live session, they are then encouraged to log on to Hegarty Maths to complete some independent practice. This is really useful for us because this means we can monitor their work and see how they are getting on with that task independently. They are then encouraged to join a live drop-in session if they are struggling with any of that work and need some assistance with any of their questions. And we are able to screenshot questions from Hegarty Maths and do some modelling and scaffolding with the students when needed. We are also able to offer some whole class feedback by monitoring and looking at the common mistakes or common misconceptions that have occurred during that Hegarty practice session. And we will then address those during the beginning part of their next live lesson. So a typical remote maths lesson is structured in a similar way to how we would structure our lessons in the maths classroom. We begin every lesson with a short review of previous learning, and we feel that this is really important so that students activate the prior knowledge that is needed for them to access the new content that is going to be delivered during the live lesson. As mentioned, we present new material in small chunks, and we make use of example problem pairs to exploit that worked example effect, and we would monitor independent practice during that live session through use of whiteboards, online whiteboards, quizzes on forms. We also use Socrative quizzes, and lots of ways that we can assess students' understanding during that live session. As we normally would, we are really focusing on our questioning, and we're making use of resources such as diagnostic questions to assess students' progress during that live lesson. And that also enables us to tackle common misconceptions as and when they arise. We dedicate a significant amount of time in school to recall practice, and we felt that this was really important to continue this with our remote learning. So we engage students in weekly retrieval low-stakes quizzes in order to make sure that we are revisiting content, which is going to be so important as we progress through this school closure period.